When we think of yachts, and more recently, mega-yachts, we tend to associate them with the lavish lifestyle of the rich and famous, as they cruise around international waters for egoistic spectacle, pleasure, or even racing. For those who either own or can rent a yacht, the luxurious possibilities are often endless and rewarding. However, there are risks attached to operating such powerful vessels, especially if one is not a seasoned sailor or, in many cases, a large number of intoxicated people are aboard intent on having a drunken party out on the waters. In the case of Yogi, the largest yacht to ever sink, the mystery surrounding its demise has circulated the maritime industry for years, and, though no one lost their life, it severely hit the Turkish shipbuilding sector, forcing owners to review insurance policies and analyze future potential dangers. The vessel itself was originally built and delivered in 2011 as a charter yacht and hotel-styled collection for the French television and media star Stephane Courbit, whose value was registered at a staggering 450 million euros. Yogi was filled with numerous amenities, including a beach club, wellness center, and swimming pool, and was deliberately showcased to attract media attention. However, on February 17, 2012, it would make the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Just a few days after departing the yard where it had undergone maintenance works, the Yogi mysteriously sank into the Aegean Sea, which is located on the arm of the Mediterranean between Greece and Anatolia. So what happened that day that caused one of the most expensive and grandiose yachts to ever exist to plummet to the bottom of the sea? Some say it was the weather. Others believe it had to do with the mechanics and failure of the engine. Join us as we attempt to decipher the mysterious sinking of the super yacht known as Yogi. Yogi was, at the time of its submersion, manned by a skeleton staff of 8 crew members, all of whom were eventually rescued by helicopter. Questions were inevitably asked as to how such a new, expensive, and state-of-the-art yacht could sink shortly after departing the dock. So therefore, we must look at the cruiser and its design to try and connect the dots. Having begun his career in television in the 1990s, as well as graduating from the ISG Business School of Paris and the University Institutes of Technology of Valence, Stephane Courbit built his own production company which broadcasts shows such as Miss France. His LOV group currently includes companies in the audiovisual space, with several production companies behind some of France's most popular game shows. The businessman has also invested in betting sites and the energy sector as well. However, his fastest growing division has been the Aegean collection of hotels. After investing nearly $200 million into the purchase and renovation of the 5-star Courchevel Palace, Courbit acquired the Palais Palais in Saint-Tropez. In 2022, his net worth was estimated to be 2,200 million euros and has now been officially listed as the 56th richest man in France. Registered as the largest yacht to cruise with the French flag, Yogi was part of Courbet's Love Collection, a holding company that includes the palace and hotel. Weekly charges for its clientele reached a massive 378,000 euros, as the Yogi boasted 800 square meters of interior space and tremendous luxury for those willing to pay the cost. One of the biggest draws was the large-scale swimming pool, which was located on the main deck of the yacht and above the popular beach club. The pool consisted of a glass porthole that filled the club with light, as well as lounging pads for soaking up the sunshine and a jacuzzi hot tub. With regards to the interior, the yacht showcased a beige and cream tone throughout, with floor-to-ceiling windows, all of which were similar to the billionaire's luxurious hotels. The master bedroom extended across the full beam of the yacht, with a king-sized bed positioned in the middle of the suite, with access through the central corridor to a dressing room and his and her bathrooms. The guest suites were just as impressive, finished off in the same style with double and twin guest cabins, which could be connected or separated through double sliding doors depending on the visitor's preference. In total, the accommodation housed 12 guests across 6 cabins, with the yacht's lead designer stating in an interview that the idea was to have a yacht that could be chartered and run just like a resort. I think this jewel offered more than you would expect of a yacht her size. Yogi also boasted the state-of-the-art Wi-Fi connections, with most of the rooms interconnected and linked to residents' and visitors' iPhones and iPods and television sets that slid out in front of the lounging pad areas, something that was for the time extremely rare and striking in equal measure. It was considered to be a major breakthrough for the Turkish yacht building sector, that when it sank, the country suffered financially as well as commercially, as Yogi was officially the largest yacht ever built by Protexin, now rebranded as Turquoise Yachts. Although some Turkish shipyards continued to be successful in the wake of Yogi's sinking, many crumbled under the stigma of Turkish infrastructure and the global recession. These two adverse obstacles culminated with the acquisition of Protexin by Dutch-based Ocean Co. and its billionaire investor, Mohammed Al-Barwani. The report into the sinking of the Yogi superyacht was frequently delayed but eventually published by French authorities. Though many were hoping for answers, the report was extremely inadequate in terms of facts, figures, and findings, and fell short of identifying the root cause of the disaster. According to the Hellenic Coast Guard, on February 17, 2012, while off the coast of Skiros, Greece, the captain reported that Yogi had experienced a mechanical failure and was unable to sail through the apparent adverse weather conditions that resulted in flooding. The report identified 8 individuals, 7 crew, as well as the captain himself, who were registered aboard the Yogi on the day in question. The Coast Guard had noted Force 8 weather conditions, which were gale force winds between 34 and 40 knots, and seas of 18 to 25 feet, or 5.5 to 7.5 meters. Coast Guard helicopter footage showed the 8 crew members in survival suits on the upper deck as the rescue operation concluded, and that it took just over an hour to get them to safety before it sank into the Mediterranean. As quickly as the Yogi superyacht was commissioned and delivered, it sank under mysterious circumstances, and so, with demand for answers, the French authorities banded together at the French Marine Accident Investigation Office to compile their report. The 40-page dossier, with a further appendix accumulating to 50 pages, began by stating that the analysis of this incident has not been carried out in order to determine or apportion criminal responsibility, nor to assess individual or collective liability. Its sole purpose is to identify relevant safety issues and thereby prevent similar accidents in the future. This official statement did little to stop those within the marine and yacht building industry from speculating and posing skepticism on the document. With many of the frequently asked questions remaining unanswered within the agency's findings, the report also contradicts specific evidence, which was allegedly given by the crew to the Greek authorities just hours after the sinking. The FMAIO report details that the compartments of the Yogi Beach Club and steering room were flooded. However, it does not conclude how the water entered or consumed the area. Those who created the report offer 3 hypothetical scenarios, which attribute material and human factors as a potential cause for the flooding, including door defects, lack of safety patrols and protocols, and simple engine mechanical failure. Yet, the report goes on to state, none of the 3 combinations above seem to be robust enough to be retained in full by investigators. Another query which remains vague and unexplained is why the safe manning document is never referred to in the report. Due to the colossal size of the Yogi superyacht, one would expect it to be manned by a crew of approximately 15 or more crew members. Yet, with only 8 crew members aboard, The possibility of crew fatigue is not discussed or thoroughly investigated in the report. This inevitable lethargy and exhaustion would have stemmed from those on deck working all day, throughout the day, within the shipyard before the Yogi set out to sea. Weather conditions, heavy lifting, and time constraints would easily have led to those working on the yacht breaking guidelines and rest time to ensure that the yacht made it out on schedule. Again, this was never mentioned in the report and would have caused major controversy had it been discussed and reviewed. Finally, no one seems to know what happened to the ship's logbook, something which could have provided more information and answers to the many questions that followed the sinking of the Yogi. It is said that the book was safely contained inside a watertight bag. Yet, despite the crew escaping with their own personal valuables and passports, the logbook seems to have mysteriously vanished during the search and rescue mission. Subsequent investigatory recommendations from the FMAIO organization, who were disgruntled at the fact that there was no backup evidence or paper trail to support the crew's story, believed that the yachts should now be fitted with voyage data recording devices. The report goes on to recommend the following steps for individuals involved with other mega yachts. Number 1. Classification societies. To inform the flag state authority of any modification leading to the reconsideration of the validity of the vessel's safety certificates, as well as the class reservations. Number 2. Commercial use. The implementation of ISO 9001 standard working procedures as a matter of high importance for whoever is operating the yacht. Number 3. French administration. Implementing the use of a determinist method, one for vertical zone, or using a probabilistic method for the flooding of contiguous compartments and participation in inclining experiments. This means that, with the Yogi lying at the bottom of the Mediterranean, there are still unanswered questions galore. And with the Turkish yacht building sector taking a massive hit, one would have assumed that the finger of blame had to land somewhere. Though investigators visited the Protescan Turquoise shipyard in Pendrick a month after, the official report cleared and absolved the firm of any major wrongdoing, with the much-relieved CEO stating that, "It is clear, as we at the shipyard have always felt and known, that Protescan Turquoise acted within the law, that the shipyard did everything that was expected of it, and that there were no failings on our part." In April 2012, 3 Turkish court-appointed officials concluded that the Yogi superyacht did not sink due to engineering faults or poor design. This conclusion was reached without prior knowledge or partnership with FMAIO and their findings. There are numerous reasons that the tragic end of Yogi caused so much frustration. Financial, industrial, commercial, and reputational implications led to various investigations, reports, and even conspiracy theories on the subject. The fact that no one can fully explain how such an expensive piece of equipment, owned by a multi-millionaire, fell at its first hurdle on the waters led to many avoiding investment in such vehicles. The main thing is that all those aboard survived and were rescued without any issues. However, we are ultimately left with more questions than answers. In today's polarized economic climate, where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, the purchasing of yachts is viewed with envy, awe, and often anger. Whether it be actors, musicians, or influencers, the flamboyant promotion and displaying of wealth aboard yachts will always be met with negativity from the majority of the general public. However, I'm sure no one would have expected, nor wished, to see the short-lived spectacle that was briefly known as Yogi.